Right, I'm not sure how far I'll get through the NGC 1750 to 1799 series this evening, but we'll get a start and then we'll just weave some more into tomorrow before I release it for view on Golden Phoenix Publish. What we're looking at here is 5 stacks of 60 seconds each with a bisecting passage of a reddish colored. Now that's kind of peculiar. Usually they're reflective. This one's got some luminosity color to it. Probably some kind of aerial phenomena, probably in space. What we're looking at, of course, is NGC 2024. It's near Alnitak. This is a long-term exposure, and it was the end and now the beginning of the NGC 1750 to NGC 1799 series, as far as I can get this evening, and there shouldn't be more than 15 to 20 studies, given the fact that this time of year, most of the NGC catalog goes deep, deep south. Once again, it's 7:19 on the 11th of February, a Wednesday night, 2026. Okay, NGC 1750 is an open cluster, and we're seeing the same one we saw previously. In Taurus, magnitude 8, 2100 light years distant. There's no data on this NGC 1750. Very strange, because there was data in the previous version of this cluster. We're at 5 hours, 3 minutes, 55 seconds with a declination of plus 23 degrees, 41 minutes, and odd seconds. NGC 1752. I pressed enter. Let's see if it goes to get me the data. Anyway, no doubt it's a galaxy, and indeed it is. In Eridanus, magnitude 12.4, and a lovely edgy on it is. 2.6 by 0.8 arc minutes gives it about a 3:1 aspect ratio. Spire with a bar, lowercase c, although it's got a kind of a star-like core. We are really getting peppered with satellites this evening. This one's going pretty much north-south. 158 million light years distant puts it about 150,000 light years in diameter. Messier 31 size. RA is 50209 with a declination of -8, 1428. And pushing on because I'm worried about losing something further north. NGC 1753 is probably this faintish galaxy right there. It's a galaxy in Orion, pretty large. Magnitude 15.5, 1.4 by 0.6 arc minutes. Spiral with a lowercase a kind of explains its lack of a well-defined core. 172 million light years distance, that's about 60,000 light years in diameter. We're at RA 50232 with a declination of -3, 2039, and we have had our 6 stacks. However, let's push it up a little bit. Remember, this is supposed to be 15.5, but it's a spiral A, so it's probably around magnitude 15, 14.9. And heading out. NGC 1758, we can't seem to get away from this open cluster. In Taurus, 39 arc minutes in size. It's a class 4-1, so highly uncondensed. Maybe this is a separate one here. 2,500 light years distant. Maybe you want to check the distances between the two in case this one's a more background cluster. RA is 50435 with a declination of plus 23 degrees, 47 minutes, 54 seconds. One way you can tell the difference between near and far clusters is by the amount of reddening in the stellar colors due to intervening gas and dust in the Milky Way. And I suspect since we're seeing these open clusters that we are, in fact, in the bounds of the edge-on presentation of the Milky Way from our perspective here on Earth, some 24,000 light years away from the great black hole, which is swallowing up worlds as I speak. NGC 1762 is a galaxy in Orion, so you can tell as we head down towards Orion, we're probably not quite into the Milky Way band as yet. This galaxy is magnitude 12.6, 1.7 by 1.1 arc minute, spiral with a lowercase c. Now that core I can see it here, but there's a star lining up with it too, so don't be deceived by that stellar presence. As I said, 12.6 magnitude, 1.7 by 1.1, spiral lowercase c, 208 million light years distant, probably means it's about 110,000 light years in diameter. RA is 503.36 with a declination of 1 degree, 34 minutes, and 23 seconds in the northerly direction. Okay, here's where I stick in the capture from the other evening of NGC 1778. Okay, we're now off to another open cluster. This one's in Riga, NGC 1778. I think they were still fighting the War of Independence in that year. Magnitude 7.77 arc minutes in size, 25 stars. Brightest is magnitude 10.1. It's a class 3-2. 4,800 light years distant. RA is 5 hours, 8 minutes, 4 seconds with a declination of plus 37 degrees, 1 minute and 24 seconds. Open cluster in Riga because we are getting roof tri-block and we are at plus 37 degrees, which means we've gone a little too far to the west right now. NGC 1779, we're looking for it and I think we can make it out, is a galaxy in Eridanus. And we can confirm that this is it because it's magnitude 12.1, 2.5 by 1.4 arc minutes. Spiral with a bar, lenticular class A, so a bright core, 146 million light years distant. Probably puts this at about 140,000 light years in diameter. There is a nice 150x view. We're at right ascension 50517 with a declination of minus 90848, and I have learned that probably the 105x view gives the best balance between aesthetics and brightness of studies. NGC 1780 is a galaxy in Lepus, so we've made the leap. It's magnitude 13.7, 0.9 by 0.5 arc minutes, spiral of the bar of the lenticular class, so bright core, 207 million light years distant, maybe 65,000 light years in diameter. We're at RA 50620 with a declination of minus 192802, and let's go ahead and push it to that 70% 105x view. NGC 1781 is also NGC 1794. So we'll go ahead and capture this one first. And maybe that other one not at all. It is a magnitude 12.7. I think we can pick that out. Galaxy in Lepus, 1.3 by 1.1 arc minute. And if I say it has a spiral with a bar and a lenticular class O, you can tell right off. The chorus says it's got a bright core and an aura around it. 220 million light years distant. And if you take that 1.3 and multiply it by 220, you probably get 250. And 250 is 25 over 35 of 100,000. So you go figure its actual size. RA is 50755 with a declination of minus 181126. NGC 1184 is likely to be this galaxy, and I'll tell you why. It's a galaxy in, I couldn't have gone to 1184. Give me a moment here. Okay, where I wanted to go was NGC 1784, and of course I just fumble-fingered the data. Galaxy in Lepus, magnitude 11.7. Maybe I haven't quite captured it yet. This is 12 stacks of the last one. That's a nice view. Okay, NGC 1184. Galaxy in Lepus, magnitude 11.7, 4.1 by 2.6 arc minutes in size. Spiral with a bar and a lowercase c. 102 million light years distant means it's about a little bit smaller than Messier 31. It is at right ascension 5 hours, 5 minutes, and 26 seconds with a declination of minus 1152.18. Here's that 150x view, and backing off to the beauty shot right there, it's at 105x for NGC 1784. Okay, NGC 1788 is not a galaxy. It is a reflective type nebula, 5 by 3 arc minutes in size, in Orion, 1,300 light years distant, so a little closer than the 1,600 we associate with many of the nebulosities in the Sword of Orion and elsewhere. We're at right ascension 506.53 with a declination of -3 degrees, 20 minutes, and 27 seconds. And I will remind folks that I am not using a nebula filter in El Quattro. I am using a light pollution suppression filter, which accounts for any coloration, for instance, in the moon or Jupiter, because I'm too lazy to remove it. Okay, so that's our view of nebula NGC 1788 in Orion. Let's go up to our 105x view and bail. NGC 1797 is a galaxy in Eridanus, magnitude 15. 1.2 by 0.8 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase a, so it's a fairly bright core, 199 million light years distant. So it's probably about 65 to 70,000 light years in diameter. I'm going to center up these two galaxies. You pick them. RA is 5 hours, 7 minutes, 44 seconds with a declination of -8 degrees, 1 minute, 9 seconds. I recommend you go to adventuresindeepspace.com, where Steve Gottlieb will give you a nice description. Keep in mind, this is north, and this is south, this is west, and this is east, because he will often refer to the cardinal directions in describing the relationships between very similar studies. I'm going to push this one up to our 100% e-zoom, not because it gives good views, but because we're exposing all the pixels and we get the brightest views of our various studies. Now I am left with the task of figuring out what we shall exit on this evening. We are a mere almost 12 minutes into this video, largely because, as I explained before, most of the studies in the NGC catalog on this right ascension, which is roughly 5 hours in, are south of -30 degrees, and all we had was about a dozen, maybe a little more, studies to cover in the NGC 1750 to 1799 series. There is a 1798, which is an open cluster in Auriga, but it's plus 47 degrees. I would ordinarily go there, but we will not get much of a view due to roof tries and the progression of the sidereal clock. There is a 1799, however, a galaxy in Eridanus that we can go to next. And, of course, NGC 1799 is the other galaxy that is in this pair. In Eridanus, magnitude 15. I don't know. That looks more like a 12th magnitude galaxy. That doesn't make any sense. It's 1.1 by 0.6, but it is a lenticular spiral, which means it's probably magnitude 14. We are operating 105x. 200 million light years distant, RA 507.44 with a declination of -7, 58.09. Let's back out and see where these babies disappear. This is our 75x view, our 60x view, and now we've got lots of stacks, 35, so I don't think it's going to disappear at all. This is our 45x view, and now we are down to our initial 30x view, 20% e-zoom. Notice this dark bar off to the left. That means the scope has been tracking on this and restacking everything. This is a very peculiar type of trail to be left across the screen. Almost looks like something ascended from the west and headed off to the east. Very peculiar. Could be an aircraft, who knows. But it's the first trailing off kind of a pyramidal stele shape that I've seen, that I recall. So there is the last of our studies of NGC 1750 to 1799. As I mentioned earlier, about a dozen or so, because most studies are further south than minus 30 degrees southern declination. Okay, because the sky is so nice tonight, even though I had a little difficulty with focusing, getting images to stack early on, I thought we would revisit a globular cluster, Messier 79. It's located in Lepus the Hare, magnitude 7.7, quite discoverable by a 4-inch scope, even from 49 degrees north, perched atop a hotel in Paris. And you know who I'm referring to. That would have been Charles Messier or Messier. This is a 7.8 arc-minute size, 42,100 light-year distant globular cluster. We are looking out kind of at an angle, so it's probably in the other half of the Milky Way galaxy. Since Auriga and Taurus, that area up there, is the antipole to the center of our galaxy, and this is off at a bit of an angle of maybe 50 to 60 degrees. We're at right ascension 5 hours, 24 minutes, and 10 seconds, with a declination of minus 24 degrees, 31 minutes, and 27 seconds. Getting quite a nice view. And here is our recommended balance between magnification and deep sky reach, a 70% 105x view of Messier 79. Now, I can play with exposure time. Let's see what the results are. We're only 16 minutes into this video, so we have a chance to explore as a tag to the NGC 1750 to 1799 series. Okay, here's our first stack at 10-second exposure. I'll push it up to 105x, which is favored for balancing. And then what I'm going to do is play with the histogram a little bit. I'm sliding the bar over to where the first light hits the baseline x-axis on the right, and the other histogram setting is to the left where that first contact is also made. So basically there's like a very tall mountain. It's got lines going up and down, and then what I'm doing is setting the histogram right in the evacuated region of the mountain, what we consider to be the internal part of the mountain that would not be visible from the outside. Okay, so this is a 10-second exposure, and we've had 7 stacks already. So let me go ahead and push this a bit further. Okay, you can see that the histogram, once you play with it, does not do a particularly good job of adapting. So once again, I am going to use the histogram exactly the same way I described before and shift things around until they make their point towards that evacuated region. Okay, so there's that view. So if we do some zoomage, once again to 105x, here we go. There's the second stack, really darken things up a bit. Now I can really push the magnification. I've had it up above 1,000%, but it gets seriously ugly above 100%. So with that, I am going to call a carpe noctem, but you know what? I may go to the other imaging setup and then have another look at Jupiter now that it's much higher in the sky. So in terms of the NGC 1750 to 1799 series and Messier 79, I'm going to say carpe noctem.